freaking comments. Like, this is a draft free podcast for one.
No Jordan Nwora today, man. Today belongs to the Sixers. All right.
I would think Jordan Nwora over Josh Richardson right now. I'll tell you that much.
That is not right.
All right, let's go.
Not right.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Party on Broad. It is Dives, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. The Party on Broad podcast can be found on iTunes and Spotify. Check us out here at the Paint Lines YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Today, we are reacting and doing player grades to the Sixers' first victory of the scrimmage over the Memphis Grizzlies, 90-83. And joining me today is my man, Austin. Follow him on Twitter at CrawlTPL. Check out the feed to Embiid at the feed to Embiid on Twitter. What's going on, Austin?
Not much. Got a big episode with my co-host Brock Landis coming out tomorrow. We're going to break down everything that occurred and transpired in today's game.
What's up, Brock? Brock's eating tonight, baby. All right.
Brock's always eating something.
Also joining us tonight is my man, Tiago. Check him out on Twitter at TScabio. What's going on, Tiago?
It feels fantastic to finally talk about real basketball. And I have just one question for the shot doctor. Can you break down the Norbel Powell corner three with about 5 minutes left in the game?
I actually, I was expecting worse mechanics. I will say this. It looked like not atrocious. I was impressed by it. And to think that was like his first attempt of his life or, of his like NBA existence. I was shocked by it. Looked pretty good. Some
Luke Cornett potential in the future there. I don't know.
Listen, if you could get Luke Cornett out of Norbel Powell, it's a win for everybody involved. Put him at stretch 4. Let him do his thing.
I agree.
Oh man, Brock Landis here says I love you all. Thanks for joining, Brock. Man, but I was gonna say we're gonna kind of just talk about our top takeaways from this game, and I think the number one takeaway here has to be the three-pointer heard around the world. I'm talking about the best defensive player in the NBA, Norbel Powell, baby! Woo! No. How about that, man? The first fucking scrimmage game, and you get a three-pointer by Ben Simmons and Norbel Powell. It was absolutely ridiculous. Austin, what was your take? But let's talk about Ben Simmons. Right? Let's talk about Ben. What was your take on Ben Simmons not only making a three, but attempting more than 1 3 in one game? What was that? What's that about?
So I didn't even it was nice to see him shoot a three, of course, just because he's been working on it and we've seen the videos and I know, the fans want it. For me, I thought what was really good to see out of Ben was that he looked very active for somebody who hadn't played basketball in 4 months. It was 5 months because he missed basically a month of time prior to the season shut down. But he looked athletic. He looked speedy. He could burst. He could explode. He was going up and devouring shots at the rim. On defense, he looked pretty healthy. And I don't know what the future holds in terms of his back, but he looks like he's in a pretty good spot right now with his back for sure. So that's as pivotal as anyone on the team besides Embiid. So.
Yep, we got Macau_Ice saying league is done for, man. If Ben starts, putting pressure on a defense with a corner three, what does that mean for the league? Tiago, what was your reaction to Ben Simmons making the three?
Well, I want to slow down on putting the pressure on the league quite yet. 1 for 2 here. Let's slow down on the league is done. And the first one looked pretty bad, actually, to be honest. But I was happy, man, because like Austin said, I didn't even think about the injury until the third quarter. I was like, oh yeah, Ben was out right before the league went nuts. So that's a great sign right off the bat. But for me, it was just how they used him. They had him in the low block, they had him in the elbow, they had him in the corner, they had him running transition. And when you talk about Ben Simmons, that's the guy that I've always thought we were going to get in Philadelphia. So they use him everywhere. And I think for teams that are going to start looking at the Sixers now and prepping for them, that is a real thing teams have to think about is where is this guy going to be standing at now when we face him? He's just going to be a guy who's just dribbling the ball at the top of the key? Obviously not. I mean, Shake is not that guy. So it's exciting to think about the potential with Ben Simmons just everywhere. And you saw, I mean, guys are moving around, guys, the ball was kicking. It was exciting to watch for sure.
It was almost as if like he kind of struggled though in that first like 5-6 minutes, especially offensively, getting buckets. But like as soon as he got that rebound, pushed the tempo, and found Furkan in the corner three, like after that it just clicked. Like the offense wasn't really there for him all day. But I love how active on defense he was, and that leads me into my next point. Was I fucking loved how active on defense this entire team was on the perimeter. Man, the Sixers are at their best when they're creating turnovers and creating the fast break. And there was a point in this game, it was absolutely ridiculous that like the Sixers had an astronomical amount of assists and points. And then there was like, you had so many turnovers on Memphis. Like they were just absolutely dominant. And my other point, we'll talk about defense. And my other top takeaway of this is Brett Brown. I know it's just one game. But if there's someone that's feeling pretty good right now, is Brett freaking Brown. Austin, what was your take on the Sixers defense today?
Yeah, I thought the defense looked pretty good. I don't want to overweight it because I thought Memphis played generally speaking a pretty terrible transition offense. I mean, they were very sloppy with the ball, and the Sixers were just able to capitalize off poor passes, mistiming on certain plays, and that they were able to turn that in transition opportunities. But I thought, overall, the Sixers they were swarming, they were active, they abode by the correct, by their core philosophies, and I thought they all kind of understood what their place was. That's sort of the backbone of any defense. So I would give the defense a good grade. If I'm Brett Brown, I'm not comfortable about anything yet. It's the Memphis Grizzlies. They were 32 and 33.
They're a good team. Come on, they're a good team.
They're good, but by the same token, we have to be careful because I'm not going to put too much stock. I mean, the offense at times looked a little bit weird, and I thought, and I still have some questions about things. I thought they could have used Shake Milton a little more. Shake only had 6 points in 17 minutes with 3 assists. So I think that, the sooner they can get him comfortable with that lead guard spot as ball handler is going to be significant for what they're trying to do. And I'm still very concerned about Al Horford. He looked pretty bad. Missed a lot of.
I thought he was okay.
He missed a lot. He missed a lot of bunnies. A lot of bunnies.
He missed a bunny. But I'm not watching that. That's not what I was looking at. I thought he was able to get other people open. Tiago, what was your take on the defense? And let's touch on a little bit of Brett Brown.
Yeah, so the defense, first and foremost, the size right off the bat stands out. And I thought that by losing Horford, we would perhaps see a little bit less of that. But again, Shake is not a huge guy, but he's got a long wingspan. And again, it was an issue. I mean, guys could not get into the paint. The passing lanes were getting disrupted. So it was nice to see the fact that they could add Shake and still keep some of that size element. That is a big way that they would like to win games. So for me, I think the defense played really well in the first half. I will say this, though, in the second half, it started becoming an issue when they started putting guys like Mike Scott and playing more like guys like Alec Burks. Started to give up a lot of dribble penetration, and that's where you started seeing Memphis really chip in some of that lead through a lot of dribble penetration and open three-point shots. So it was kind of a mixed review in the second half. But again, that lineup, that first group, that lineup was really solid, rock solid defensively. I will say this, though, with Al Horford, I saw a guy who was a little bit healthier. So I saw a guy who was moving a little bit quicker. The elevation is not there. And I think that's just the fact that he's just an older guy. And the rim protection is scary when Embiid is off the floor. I mean, guys are just
he's almost your age, Thiago.
Say this live. But I can jump a little bit higher. And I don't know what they're going to do there because when he's playing center, it's a problem. Guys are going to rat at him, and it's easy buckets. So I think he's moving faster, but the elevation is just not there. So mixed reviews on Al. He's got to hit shots. He's still not hitting shots. If those shots don't hit, then it's a problem. But he looked healthier. He looks healthier. So I'm happy. I was pleasantly surprised.
The clap was back. It was a little. I missed.
If he stops doing that, I'll just be happy, man. Just stop.
Stop clapping. You made more bad plays than good plays, and that's a lot of claps that you have to administer every time you mess up a play.
Do you think like a publicist is like, "Yo, stop doing the clap"? People are like,
and stop flinching at free throws too. They're not going to just catch the ball. You have enormous hands.
It just doesn't look good.
What was I going to say? The one thing that I was really impressed with was Matias Fibal. Yes. I thought he looked tremendously spry. He was aggressive, very, very aggressive. Wasn't hesitating on jumpers. That dunk he threw down was malicious, and it was awesome to see. And I think if he can really play sort of uncorked and freely, I think he can be a really good positive for this team, at least until they trade him.
Come on, man! Jesus Christ! You're building me up. You're building me up, and then that. What would you take on Matisse, Tiago?
I politely disagree with Austin here, and I'll say this: defensively, the guy's a hound. I'm not disagreeing.
A beast.
Defensively, he's a beast. The Sixers are so much better defensively when he's on the court. It's not even funny. But offensively, it's becoming an issue. And what I mean by that, he's just not hitting 3-pointers. I know he hit one today, but it's coming off his hand, and it does not look good. And I tweeted this during the game. Like, I watched GR3, Glenn Robinson. I'm like, man, this guy, he just looks like NBA ready, can come in, hit a shot.
He should be. He's a 7-year veteran of the NBA.
You're trying to win a championship, man. You're going to play a rookie?
You know what I saw sorry to interrupt, but you know what I saw is Glenn Robinson, the James Ennis of the last year's playoffs. Like, does he have that potential to come in and just be that, impact defensive guy that gets offensive boards, crushes the fast break, hits threes? That was the vibe I got. What about you, Tiago?
They had him defending Morant at one point. They had him as a point of attack defender in his face. I'm like, that tells me that Brett Brown's like, yo, I want to see what this guy can bring to the table, And he defended okay. He wasn't he's not Matisse on defense. Don't get me wrong. But when you talk about playing Al and Embiid together, you cannot play Matisse. Guys are just going to ignore him in the corner. So you got to think about that. I think that if this continues to be the trend with Matisse, he may eventually see less and less playing time as the playoffs progress. Austin was shaking his head I disagree.
I want to touch on. We don't have much time. I want to touch on a little bit. The Phillies are coming on, guys. We
have over an hour. We can do this for another 60 minutes.
Precious time, Austin. Such precious time. So I want to touch a little bit on what we saw at point guard between Shake Milton running the pick and roll and Alec Burks running the pick and roll. I thought that looked extremely good. What was your take on that, Austin?
So Alec Burks played 9 minutes, had 7 points, 2 assists. I actually wrote on this today. Shout out to those of you who do read me. I'm not going to name names. But I said that I thought one of the things to look for was that I expected Alec Burks to take a lesser role as a backup ball handler because you have Josh, you have Shake, you have Ben, and I kind of just felt that with that kind of depth at the ball handler positions, and with guys who could both facilitate and distribute and score, maybe there would be less room for him. So I wrote today that I thought that he would exhibit a lesser role and maybe higher usage as an off the dribble scoring, which he showed he operated the pick and roll pretty well. He converted a couple of jumpers off the dribble. He only played 9 minutes compared to Robinson's 14. And Josh played 19, Shake played 17. So I think I was right.
I think we can all collectively agree that both of those guys look 1,000% better than Josh Richardson running that pick and roll. It's not even terrible. What was your take on that?
Josh looked bad.
Josh looked bad, and I'm worried with the starting five because he looks completely out of order with Shake and Ben around. But Josh is so much better than Alec Burks defensively. I mean, he does not give up dribble penetration that easily. Alec does. And I think that's something that Brett's going to think about, because when you're talking about third, fourth quarter as a crutch time of the game, like, you can't have a guy out there who's going to be giving up dribble penetration the way that Burks did. So you got to live with the both sides of the coin here. Yes, Burks looks a more natural fit in the pick and roll, but I mean, go back and watch that third and fourth quarter. Guys are just blowing right by him. So it's something that Brett's going to think about, I think, moving forward here.
All right, let's talk a little bit. Go ahead.
I gotta think Jordan Wara wouldn't let that happen.
God, we're not doing this, man. Not tonight. Not the parade here, man. We're feeling good right now. No more Jordan Wara crap, man. Let's talk briefly on Joel Embiid. Then we're gonna run through some player grades and overreact. Joel Embiid, 10 points in nearly 13 minutes, 6 boards, 3 of 10. From the
he was jacking. He was like, I'm gonna get my shots in.
I liked what I saw from Embiid. Man, that guy like barely broke a sweat. I love the defense. What was your quick take on Joel Embiid, Austin?
I think his defense needs a little bit of a tune-up. He committed 3 fouls in 10 and 12 minutes, so that per 36 is 9 fouls. So I mean, they don't give you that much. So you got to.
The playoffs are summer league rules, right? Like, that's what I'm assuming. They're using summer league rules out there.
I thought that he looked really good opening up out of the pick and roll and just like keying in on the basket and knocking down jumpers. His 3-point shot looked pretty good, and he was aggressive. Just keep increasing those minutes. He only played 12 tonight. I guess after the first 12, they were like, "We know what we got here. This guy's apparently pretty good. Let's find out what else we have." But I mean, I liked it. I thought Embiid looked pretty good.
What about you, Tiago?
Yeah, I mean, Joel looked fantastic. I was just looked at right at the shape, and he looked quick on his feet. He looked light, and I think he went like 5 or 6 straight minutes in the first quarter before being subbed. And I didn't see that production drop at any point in time. He looked comfortable rolling to the rim. He was a beast defensively. I mean, a couple guys tried to meet him at the rim, and it was like no contest. So I am pleasantly surprised to see Joel back in the shape that he's in. And I think we got maybe like a 40% Joel today, which is like really, really good news. I think once we get that 100% Joel, it's going to be the old Joel. So I'm excited about him.
Let's get him to 69% and then 81%.
Yeah. My last take here before we get into player grades is I was dead wrong. I was absolutely dead wrong regarding the Sixers. I had them going like 4-4 in the scrimmage. I expected the starting lineup to look sluggish. I expected a lot of turnovers, and I was straight up dead wrong. And I harken back to like the team that almost Elton Brand envisioned this team to be when that starting lineup is on the court together. They're not going to outscore you and put up like 120 points a game, but they're going to outsize you. They're going to out physical you, and eventually they're just going to beat you down until that fourth quarter, and they're just going to take it over at that point. And that's the vibe I got. I got the vibe where I know we're overreacting here, but I am over the moon right now, ecstatic about what I saw from this starting lineup. So again, if Brett Brown is watching, great job. He doesn't get enough credit. I'm giving you credit now because he never, ever gets it. Let's go by player grades right now. Let's go Matias Fibal, 5 points in 10 minutes. 16 minutes. He did have 3 steals, 2 for 6 from the floor. Austin, what would you grade Matias Fibal?
Fibal committed just 1 foul in 16 minutes. I will give him an A-.
What about you, Tiago?
I'll give him a solid B. I don't know what.
Thank you, Tiago.
What are you watching, man? The guy was moving 3 corners left to right. He was like, what was he from 3-point line? 1 for 5, I think.
He was 1 for 4.
1 for 4. We're gonna live with
better
25.
than 1 for 5 and 1 for 6.
We're living with 25% now. All right.
Yeah, I give him a straight B+. I loved what I saw.
Oh, you guys are the worst kind of people.
Are you kidding?
Dude,
you guys gotta hit shots, man.
I don't care. I want him to be just an animal on the perimeter. I want him to be a beast defensively. I don't really care about the point. I'm looking. He's not going to play 16 minutes when the playoffs start. I want to see 5 minutes of him just being an animal and getting 2 to 3 steals. Is that too much to ask? Go ahead,
Chris,
Thiago.
I want him to come onto the court with his camera and put the flash on if they're blinding people and then taking the ball that way.
Chris, when they're playing Embiid and Horford together, you're gonna want him to shoot more than 25%, man. I'm telling you that right now. Can't do that.
All right, let's move on to Norbel Powell. 9 points in 9 minutes, 2 blocks, 4 for 4 from the floor, and 1 for 1 from the 3-point line. A fucking plus for my man Norbel. As everyone knows here, I'm a huge Norbel fan. Norbel Powell. Yeah, go ahead, Austin. What was your grade?
Give him an A.
Baby.
He was aggressive. He had that really good, energetic, bouncy second step, which is big which is what you love to see out of big guys because he misses the rebound. The first time he pops right back up, gets it. He manhandled one and just ripped it down from the out of the grips of one of the Grizzlies and put it back. I thought he had a really good showing. A for Norbel Powell.
Oh, Thiago.
Yeah, he's what we thought Jonah Bolden could eventually turn into. Defensively, the guy who block a shot without breaking somebody's neck in half or snapping somebody's arms off. He's an interesting guy, man. Like he's got a lot of interesting tools. Like around the basket, he's got a soft touch. He's nifty. He's quick. I think he can be a tremendous rim runner in the future. I like him a lot, man. Definitely give him an A.
We got Tim Berber joining, saying Sixers holding on and covering the -5 at the end. There it is.
Yes.
Are you actually Tim Tebow's Berber? And what is a Berber?
Man, I can't express how absolutely crazy I went when Norbel Powell hit that 3. I was probably one of like 50 Sixers fans that were watching the game at that point. And it was this
Tyler dropped his daughter on the ground. He's hit the 3.
All right, let's move on. Alec Burks, 9 minutes, 7 points. He was 3 for 4 from the floor. 1 turnover. He was a -4. What was your grade for Alec Burks, man? Go ahead, Austin.
Burks, I would say he probably gets an A-. I think he's certainly earned himself another look with extended minutes next time out. Maybe decrease Josh's a little bit, increase his. I thought he was efficient, operative in the pick and roll for sure. And I think, if he could just learn to sort of realize that he can look at more places than just the basket at one time, and really sort of open up maybe a passing game, I think he could be a really, really, really solid piece, like a Will Barton type for a team.
Interesting. I'll go B+. Defensive for me still a concern. Go back and watch the third quarter, Austin, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
It's a scrimmage.
Listen. When guys start getting open, hey, listen.
That argument works both ways for me. Don't worry.
This team isn't going to score 120 points, man. They need their defense to show up. I like the fit with Ben with the pick and roll. I like that a lot. I like the depth, man. Like the depth that the team has right now, it's really standing out and something that they didn't have last year. So we bring a guy like Alec Burks on the bench. Are you kidding me? Not many teams have that. So yeah, B+.
One team actually has that. One.
The future NBA champions.
Let's move on to Joel Embiid. 13 minutes, nearly 13 minutes, 10 points, 3 for 10 from the floor. He did have 2 turnovers and 3 fouls. He was a +12. Go ahead, Austin.
B-. I think his efficiency needs work. And I think, he looked to be in pretty good shape. But those 3 fouls, the 2 turnovers, we're trying to cut down the Embiid turnovers. That's one of the biggest detractors from his game. You got to work on keeping those cut. And eventually, at some point, we're just going to have to admit the fact that, hey, maybe this is his big downfall. He's a turnover-prone big man. We got to surround him with better pieces. Maybe get him a couple shooters. That's an idea. He was, he looked happy. That was sort of what I was looking for. And
What's up?
3 of 10 shooting is pretty impressive in 12 minutes. I think he had the green light. But the 3 fouls, 2 turnovers, got to tune that up. B-.
Go ahead, Tiago.
I'll go solid B+.
Oh my God.
Listen, man, the guy's playing at like 40% right now. This isn't even half of the NBA that we're going to get in the playoffs. I think in the playoffs, we're going to see a guy who's going to get down low. He's going to create a boatload of fouls. He's going to put guys in foul troubles. He looks healthy. He looks physically fit. So I'm just giving the grade strictly off what I saw from him from a physical standpoint, and I'm very happy with what I saw.
Tiago, what's it like waking up in the morning and just being the worst person?
Say it again. I didn't catch that.
What's it like waking up in the morning and just being the worst possible person?
Man, I don't know what game you watch, Austin. Man. We're like, you must have watched Memphis back in March or February.
I love what I saw from Joel Embiid. I know the offense, efficiency wasn't there, but I agree with Tiago. I look at his conditioning. I look at his attitude. That guy clearly was fine. We're not looking at, statistics for Joel Embiid. We're looking at him, mentally prepared for the playoffs, and I think he's there. I'm reading the tea leaves. I think he's there. Go ahead, Austin.
I already gave my take. What do you mean?
Oh, you're sticking your finger like.
I will say this. He did pass the shot docked exam. The jumper looks good.
Yeah. Butter.
The jumper looks very good. Yeah. Looks very good.
All right. Let's move on. Let's move on to Tobias Harris. 22 minutes, 15 points, 10 boards. I loved how active this guy was on the court. This guy's a solid A for me. If he can bring that level of aggressiveness on offense and that level of being active on defense on the perimeter, I'm very happy. What was your grade for Tobias Harris, Austin?
A, solid A. I thought he was efficient. He did have a couple of air balls, so I knew Sixers Twitter would eat that up because they have this vendetta against Tobias Harris. I don't know why. But 10 rebounds. He did have 4 turnovers, but just getting back in the swing of things, I thought he was a really good leader out there today, made heady plays. And he continues to do what they need him to do. And that's at the end of the day most important.
Tiago.
I'll go A-. Tobias looked great. A lot, especially on defense. He had a tremendous help plays on the weak side. I thought it was really, really nice to see. The one thing I'm concerned about is when they go with Tobias, Ben, and Embiid, they don't have another ball handler on the court. He seems to try to do way too much offensively, and the offense, again, seems to get stuck with him just bouncing the ball up and down, waiting for the shot clock to expire. So I would like to see him work a little bit more off the ball, off the catch, because he's just not as dynamic on the ball as some other point forwards are. So I'll give him a solid A-, but maybe work a little bit less off the ball moving forward would be nice.
All right. Let's move on to quickly Al Horford, 18 minutes, 5 points, 5 assists, 2 boards, 2 for 6 from the floor. He did miss a couple buns there. He was at a +4. I give him a solid C+. I don't like what I saw from him, getting buckets, but I did like how he got others involved. And I think that's crucial for someone coming off the bench. And that's something that the Sixers really struggled with. The offense stalled at times during the regular season. What about you, Austin? What grade would you give Al Horford?
I'm glad that we're paying him $109 million for $18 million for 18 minutes of 5 points and 5 rebounds. Love that. I would give him a C. I thought he looked healthier. Defensively, he looked a little better. He still somehow manages to miss layups that he would never, ever miss in Boston. So I don't know what happened there. But, the clap is back. The little free throw flinch is back. I would give him a solid C. Would like to see him. I hope it's just rust. And if it's not, they have bigger issues to worry about.
Yep. Tiago.
All I want is for a Horford to have a vertical greater than 10 inches and hit.
Can you make it across the phone book? Just the phone book. Hop over the phone book, please.
And just hit one open 3-pointer, please. Just one.
He did hit one.
Yeah, hit one. I'll give him that. I don't know, man. Just get out of the way, dude. I'll give him a B-. Just get out of Embiid's way, please. Just get out of his way.
I was sensing like an F there. I was like, this is going to be a flat F. And then he goes B-.
Always gets in the way. Like, don't you watch film, dude? Like, get
well,
were you
at
guys
least
surprised?
you guys this. That redeems it.
Were you guys surprised at all? We saw minutes of Embiid and Horford together, I think, in that first quarter. Like, what was your reaction to that, Austin?
I don't even know anymore.
I thought like the sub wrong.
That's the first time I've ever been lost for words on this podcast.
Ever.
I don't even know anymore. He is a strange enigma at this point. Whatever you can squeeze out of him, I guess, is for the best. I'm telling you this though. I do not think he's happy coming off the bench. And I think he's going to make it known this offseason that he is not happy with that. And they'll be forced to decide. Do we start Horford over Embiid?
What's the decision? Am I missing something?
Or
do we trade him? And I think
maybe the latter. I don't know. All right, let's keep rolling. Let's wrap this up. Furkan Korkmaz, 12 minutes, 7 points. He was 3 for 7 from the floor, 1 for 4 from 3. I loved what I saw from Furkan. We saw him make a corner 3. We saw him get a guy miss and hit a mid-range bucket. I'm good with Furkan. I think I would give him a solid B+. What about you, Austin?
A+ for me. I thought Furkan was great. He looked like a frat boy with the longer hair. I appreciated that. Relatable. Even though I'm not a frat, never was. But I thought his jumper looked pretty much on point. Didn't miss a beat. He looked spry. He looked loose. He was, even though he only registered 1 steal, he was very active with his hands. He was creating loose balls, and the teammates were picking him up. He was very effective tonight. And I think if he can maintain that, and he can play a big role in this team in this playoffs and be a really good value contract. And this team doesn't have many of them, but a really good value contract going forward.
I couldn't agree more. He shot 1 for 4 from 3, but the way you wouldn't know that the way he was impacting it. At least just my opinion. What about you, Tiago?
The shot doc approves. Stamp.
He's got the little pump fake. I love that. Guys come back,
a little side step.
Fly it right by him. And it takes 2 steps, it just drains it.
Jonas Valanciunas never seen that before. He was like diving in the stands. Like
the pump fake is real, man. Like, I just love the fact that he does not hesitate. And that on a team that everybody seems to hesitate to shoot from the 3-point line, he just lets it fly. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. More often than not, he's going to make one of those 3-pointers. So definitely A for him. That's
what I meant. Like 1 for 4, but that dude looks confident. That guy looks ready. So that's everything. We need Furkan. We need the Sixers absolutely.
Right. Here's a stat for you that will either leave you concerned or laugh. Joel Embiid was the only Sixer to make multiple 3-pointers today. Everyone else, there were. Let's see. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys who made 1. Joel made 2. That's it.
Listen, 34% from 3 this year, man. Guys, 3-pointers coming around.
There are our shooters, ladies and gentlemen.
Norbel Powell is one of them. Don't forget. He's one of them. All right, let's move on. Let's go. Shake Milton, 17 minutes, 6 points. He had 3 assists, 1 rebound. He shot 2 for 4 from the floor, 1 for 3 from 3-point land. He did have 1 turnover. He was a +6. I didn't like how he wasn't involved on offense to start the game, but once he got in, dude, I think the potential for this guy in the starting lineup is through the roof. It's just I didn't like how he just wasn't involved. So I want to see him more involved on offense. I would give Shake Milton probably like a B-. What about you, Austin?
Well, at what point do you have to ask yourself, is it his fault he's not more involved, or are they looking for specific looks? And so for that, I think I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say B+. I would have liked to have seen him be more aggressive, but 3 assists, 1 turnover in 17 minutes. That's very effective for a guy who is number one playing point guard minutes and number two expected to start for a playoff team. That's a lot of pressure. He handled it pretty well in his first go.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about pressure. Like this guy needs to run a pick and roll with Joel Embiid on a championship or bust team. That's the pressure is immense. What about you, Tiago?
I think the question you have to ask as well is like, how involved do you want Shake Milton on the offense? I mean, you have Joel, you have Tobias, you have Ben. Do you want this guy, pulling up 10 times a game? Probably not. Do you want this guy running constant pick and rolls? Probably not. So I think like his usage is going to fall somewhere between that, 12, 15%, and that's fine. I mean, that's where I think we should be as part of the offense. I think that if he's a guy who doesn't foul a lot, if he's a guy who doesn't completely destroy the defensive structure, I think he will fit right in with this team. So I'll give him a solid B+ today. I think he was solid.
All right, and last up, no, we got two more. Oh, let's keep going. 19 minutes for Josh Richardson. He had 6 points, 2 for 4 from the floor, over 1 from the 3-point line. Oh man, if like we gotta talk about positives that were for this game, and then you get to Josh Richardson. What was your take, Austin?
I don't think he was like overtly negative. I think I would give him like a B-, C+. He played. He showed up and played a game of basketball. He 6 points, 6 points, 3 rebounds in 19 minutes. Not terrible. He could have done a little more with the off-ball movement. I thought he was a little bit lethargic at times, but overall, for a lot of these guys, they Shake Milton in the rotation is something they're not used to, and so they're trying to figure out where they fit in the mix. And it's only the first game they've really played together. The starting five, well, at least the new starting five, and so I think he was fine, adequate, sure.
That's the thing. Like you look at Shake Milton, you look at Alec Burks running a pick and roll. They looked infinitely more comfortable doing it. And you look at Josh, who's been doing it for a long time, and it didn't happen. So what was your take, Tiago?
Here's the thing. We know what Josh already is, right, on the ball. He's kind of the so-and-so guy, not very dynamic. All I want for him is when the ball gets swung his way to shoot the damn ball. And he hesitates time and again to the point where he's got to make that extra pass late in the shot clock, and it doesn't fit. I mean, you got to just – when the ball gets to you, man, you got to shoot. So I think his role in the playoffs is more like that guy who takes on the huge defensive assignment, really puts in the work to make sure that we keep that defensive structure in place. But man, like when the ball gets to you, shoot the freaking ball, man. Like just shoot it.
I gotta think maybe he would have been a better player if he hadn't been from Miami. It's just me. maybe their program's questionable. I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas here. Some may say.
Well, let me ask you a question. If you had one shot, would you go with Josh or Jimmy? You needed 1 3-pointer for the win.
I would call the funeral home because I know I'd be dead. I'd be done. No chance.
That's right.
All right, let's wrap this up. Glenn Robinson, 14 minutes, 5 points. He shot 1 for 1 from 3. He had like a really good stretch there in that like first or second quarter that was really impressive. And I think the story with Glenn is that he was the first off the bench over Alec Burks, and that was like something that a lot of people were talking about for fucking months. So I thought that's the take. I think you go with Glenn Robinson over Alec Burks. I've always said that. So I think that's the correct call by Brett Brown. What grade would you give Glenn Robinson, Austin?
Even in the womb, Chris was saying that. The first word. Glenn Robinson over Alec Burks. I thought Glenn did a really good job in his role. I'm more interested to see how he functions on the defensive side of the ball. Because like he said on Monday, he envisions himself playing more of a, like playing up on wings and, trying to compete with the best wings. And, he wasn't really tested that much today, I didn't think. I'm interested to see how he fares against, good NBA wings, and maybe, against like some of the better players and who are at the wing. But I thought, his offensive production, 14 minutes was fine, 206 with a 3. Yeah.
Tiago.
Yeah, he works really well when the ball is moving around. He's probably one of their best cutters off the ball. And when the ball is kicking and not stuck on the low post, you can really see how he fits with the team. So I was excited to watch him play off that, and I think that's one name we're gonna probably be talking about a lot in the next couple of weeks. So I definitely keep an eye on him. I'll give him a solid A. I was very happy with his play.
I was too. I give him an A. The box score there does not indicate how impressed I was with Glenn Robinson. Brett Brown has
just add me next time, Jesus.
Brett Brown has a really intriguing situation coming with the playoffs. And do you run with Alec Burks and his ability to pull up, run a pick and roll? Do you go with Glenn Robinson? Everything's going to depend on matchups. I think it's going to that's really what's going to dictate where Brett Brown goes. But that's like the first take is the starting lineup is fucking beastly. The second take is the defense looked great, and when the Sixers defense is great, everything else kind of falls into place. The other take is the depth. And I really was impressed with what Matias and Burks and our guys just brought today. That was just very, very impressive. Let's wrap it up. That is my man, Tiago. Follow him on Twitter @TScabia. Make sure you give my man a follow, Austin. He is @KrellTPL, and check out the Feed to Embiid podcast. Anything you want to plug, Austin?
We didn't even talk about Mike Scott. What the fuck is
God.
this?
Who?
I was gonna say cut the podcast.
I don't recognize the name.
I recently wrote an article for my first article for the Spark, detailing how the Miami Heat have retired Jimmy Butler. No, I'm kidding. No, how the Miami Heat have manufactured inexpensive depth in the form of Duncan Robinson and Kendrick Nunn. So I did a breakdown on that. Always something in the queue with the Sixers and the NBA draft. I don't even know how I'm going to do my real job anymore, to be honest. But every day is a grind for sure. So keep on the lookout and follow us for sure.
All right, and check out thepaintedlines.com. Tiago, you got a lot of Sixers content going on. What? Anything you want to plug with that?
We've been doing a lot more stuff with the draft. We're covering as many prospects as we possibly can before the draft gets around. And definitely check out our content, especially Austin. He wrote the thing about the Heat, and we might be playing them in the next couple of weeks here with Sabonis being out. So,
Tiago, have you looked at Jordan Nwora yet? Great prospect.
I Googled his name, and I was just not very impressed with what I saw. So,
oh my God! Never.
He will get drafted, and I'll still be like, hey, maybe we should draft Jordan Nwora.
All right. Make sure you lock it down to 76ers TPL on Twitter for Austin, for Tiago, for myself. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay awesome.
Almost